Today, we'll profile 4 athletes that went from fame and fortune to prison. Brandon Browner was born in Los Angeles, California, on August 2nd, 1984. He was tall at 6 foot 4 inches and also athletic. In high school, he participated in track and field and was a star cornerback and wide receiver on the football team. He took his talents to Oregon State University in 2002. He redshirted as a freshman but excelled in his second year at the university and was named Pac-10 Freshman of the Year. The following year, he was named to the All-Pac-10 second team. Browner entered the 2005 NFL Draft, but he was not selected. Days after the draft, he signed with the Broncos as an undrafted free agent, but he broke his arm and never played for the team. In 2006, he joined the Canadian Football League. He was an All-Star 3 times and won the league championship in 2008. He made his way back to the NFL in 2011. He played 5 seasons with 3 different teams and won 2 Super Bowl rings. In May 2017, the ex-cornerback was arrested in Los Angeles for possessing cocaine and being under the influence of cocaine. In September 2017, he was arrested for threatening a woman. In July 2018, Browner broke into the home of a woman he once dated through a locked window. The woman tried to flee the home, but he forced her back inside. He dragged her, assaulted her, threatened her life, then tried to smother her while her children were in the house. Eventually, he fled the scene with a $20,000 Rolex. He was soon arrested by Laverne, California police and was charged with attempted murder, first-degree residential burglary, and 2 other charges. In December 2018, he pleaded no contest to attempted murder and 2 misdemeanor counts of cruelty to a child. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison and ordered to stay away from the victim and her kids for 10 years. He is up for parole in October 2024. Kellen Winslow II was born July 21, 1983, in San Diego, California. At the time of his birth, his father was an elite tight end for the San Diego Chargers. Winslow followed in his father's footsteps and dominated on the football field at 2 different San Diego high schools. For college, he went east and played tight end for the Miami Hurricanes. He was primarily a backup tight end and special teams player during his first season. The team won the BCS championship. As a sophomore, his role expanded, and he hauled in 8 touchdowns. His numbers declined his junior season as he only scored 1 touchdown. He entered the 2004 NFL Draft and was selected by the Cleveland Browns with the 6th overall pick. He was expected to make an instant impact, but he broke his leg in his second game. After a May 1, 2005 accident caused another leg injury, he was forced to sit out the 2005 season. Winslow went on to play with 4 teams in 10 seasons. He made 1 Pro Bowl, but never lived up to the hype, and by 2013, his career was over. On June 7, 2018, a man in an Encinitas, California mobile home park saw someone breaking into his neighbor's home. After being confronted, the burglar fled the scene. The neighbor called authorities, and San Diego County Sheriff's deputies stopped the SUV and arrested Winslow for first-degree burglary. He was released on $50,000 bail. When he returned to court a week later, he was rearrested and hit with charges of indecent exposure, residential burglary, rape, kidnapping with the intent to rape, and 4 other sexual assault charges. He was let out on bail and put on an ankle monitor. Things continued to get worse for Winslow. After a DNA match, he was charged with violating an unconscious 17-year-old girl in 2003 when he was 19. Winslow was facing life in prison, but he couldn't control his urges, and in March 2019, his bail was revoked, and he was locked up for misdemeanor charges of lewd conduct, battery of an elder, and willful cruelty to an elder for an incident that occurred a month earlier. In 2019, he was convicted of raping a 57-year-old homeless woman in May 2018. He was also convicted of a lewd public act with a 77-year-old in February 2019 and exposing himself to a 58-year-old woman in 2018. The jury acquitted him of 1 charge and deadlocked on another 8 charges. Prosecutors intended to retry him, but Winslow didn't want to die in prison, and he agreed to plead guilty to raping the unconscious teen in 2003 and assaulting a 54-year-old hitchhiker in 2018 with the intent to violate her. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison. He will be eligible for parole in 2028. Once he is released, he will be on lifetime parole and will have to register as a sex offender. Rashid Bird was a 7'1" athlete who played in the NBA's developmental league in the 2008-2009 season. He also played ball overseas, had a small role in Will Ferrell's movie Semi-Pro in 2008, and participated in a documentary short called Bring Your A Game in 2009. In 2019, a woman came forward to Los Angeles police saying the giant violated her. When detectives looked into his past, they learned he had been arrested in 2005 and 2010 when women made similar accusations. He was convicted in the 2010 case, although it is unclear what his punishment was. After investigating the 2019 complaint for a year, police arrested Bird in September 2020. He was held on $4.1 million bail. When Bird was in custody, more women came forward, and he was charged with several more violent acts that occurred between 2015 and 2020. The 42-year-old was convicted at trial in 2024 and sentenced to 90 years to life in prison for his crimes. Mel Hall was a baseball player in the 1980s and 90s who played 13 seasons in the majors with 4 teams. With his wealth, fame, and good looks, Hall could have gotten any woman he wanted, but he didn't like women. He liked girls. On June 11, 1989, a father drove his daughter Jenny, her friend Amber, and several others from Connecticut to a Yankee game for Jenny's birthday. The girls were sitting in right field, and throughout the game, they interacted with Hall. He toyed with them several times and pretended to toss them a ball. After the game, Jenny's dad told the girls they should write Hall and try to get an autographed baseball. A few weeks later, they did. After seeing the letter, the 28-year-old called 15-year-old Amber and invited her and her family to a game. Within days, he was spending all his free time at the family's home. He bought Amber and her father new convertibles and built an in-ground pool for the family. They got distracted by the limos, Yankee tickets, and gifts and didn't object to the relationship. The teen would go to the ballpark for games and sit with other players' wives and girlfriends. She even took Hall to her high school prom. The tabloid show Current Affair did a story about the relationship, but no one in Major League Baseball seemed to care. As the relationship continued for 3 years, Hall started to control who Amber could be friends with and where she could go. She knew her family was benefiting financially from the relationship, so she stayed with him. After catching him with another woman in the fall of 1992, she broke it off. Hall retired from baseball in 1996, and 2 years later, he was presenting himself as a coach. He met the Miller family and soon started working with their daughter Courtney on her basketball skills. At some point, the Millers let Hall move in. He started to take advantage of Courtney in the home, on AAU trips, and later, an apartment he shared with his girlfriend. After she stopped giving in to his demands, he moved on to 14-year-old Katie, one of Courtney's teammates. He violated her on 2 different occasions. In May 2007, Courtney and Katie connected on social media and decided to go to the cops. Police started investigating and learned of many other victims, although some preferred not to come forward. Hall was arrested on June 21, 2007. At his June 2009 trial, he was convicted of violating Courtney at the apartment he shared with his girlfriend. The next day, he pleaded guilty to 2 more charges in another county, one related to acts against Courtney at her home and the other for acts against Katie. He was later sentenced to 22 to 45 years in prison